Hello and welcome to Blockchain Gaming World Daily with me, John Jordan. So what we're looking at today is our monthly roundup of the most popular blockchain games, data from DappRadar. So what I've done, very simply, gone to DappRadar and got the data, the daily active unique wallet data for the biggest blockchain games, and stuck it on a graph. So nothing very clever going on here. But this is for February 2020. So what can we see? At the top, we have the blue dot. So every dot is a day, obviously. And so date on the bottom horizontal axis, and on the vertical axis, we have daily active unique wallets. The biggest game, kind of as it has been for the last kind of couple of months, really, has been EOS Dynasty. So EOS Dynasty is a mobile kind of idler RPG out of China. Actually, it's kind of a reskin copycat of EOS Knights, which at one point was the largest blockchain game. So obviously runs on the EOS blockchain. We can see here, it's got some at a start of the month had a peak here over 5,000 daily active unique wallets. It's an interesting game. Has some kind of interesting mechanics in terms of kind of has some dividend stuff going on there, and some kind of has its own token as well. So so it has. I guess you wouldn't play it necessarily as a game per se, but I guess you might say that with a lot of blockchain games. But they have a different kind of lever, I suppose, that they can do these promotions and probably attract more users depending on what they're doing with their tokens and dividend stuff. So nice kind of up click in the start of February, but then drop down very, very quickly back to kind of its usual level. So it's still roughly, the most popular blockchain game, give or take. But kind of what we've seen really is for the last month or 2 months is we've had kind of 3 games roughly around the same level. So we have EOS Dynasty, we've spoken about, in blue. Then we have Prospectors in red. So Prospectors is a little bit interesting in the sense that there's 2 versions of Prospectors. There's one running on the EOS blockchain and one running on the Wax blockchain. The Wax blockchain is what we call an EOS IO. It runs on the EOS IO SDK, so it runs on the same software as EOS, but it's not running on the EOS blockchain. But it makes it very easy if you've got an EOS game, to run it on the Wax blockchain. So what I've actually done here is I've actually just added the two versions of the game's user base together. That probably is an overestimation in the sense that some people are probably playing both, but there we go. That's what we got. So that's kind of in second place. And then in yellow, we have My Crypto Heroes, which is the running on Ethereum, being the biggest blockchain game on Ethereum pretty much through all 2019. So those 3 are kind of roughly the same level. And what's actually interesting, kind of a new entry really for February, is in green. So Brave Frontier Heroes. So this Brave Frontier Heroes is actually developed by the kind of My Crypto Heroes developer, with just different characters, different IPs. It's kind of the same game, give or take. Very Japanese focused, just as My Crypto Heroes is, but it's using these characters from the Brave Frontiers IP, which is a very big mobile game in Japan. So that kind of launched at the end of January, and that's kind of immediately gone up to kind of 1,200 daily active unique wallets. Kind of sat there pretty steadily. That's been interesting because previously we've had these 3 games at kind of about 3,500 daily active unique wallets each. And we've had a lot of games kind of under 1,000 daily active unique wallets. And Brave Frontier Heroes has kind of sat in there, come in and kind of been the first game to slip in between 1,000 and 2,000 daily active unique wallets. Again, very Japanese. I'm not quite sure how big that game's going to be. I don't know if it's going to build its way up to this level like My Crypto Heroes has. We will wait and see. But has had a good first month. And then we have these other games that are kind of sitting in this kind of 500 to 1,000 sort of range. So we have Blockchain Cuties. That's a game that actually runs on. I'm measuring it from 3 blockchains. It actually runs on 4, but no one plays it on EOS. So I've just taken the numbers of people playing on Ethereum, Tron, and Neo. So that's kind of orange, and then we have 0x Universe in the kind of I guess what's that kind of teal, kind of turquoise sort of color, and then Night Story in the light blue. So those are kind of roughly much of a muchness. We can see some few more trends if we flick to this next graph. So this is a longer period of time. You can see this goes back into December. What I've done here is I've taken the 30-day trailing average. So this is the each kind of point on the line. I've not done it in points, I've just done it in lines for clarity in this case. But basically, it's taking the average over the previous 30 days. So you don't get the kind of sudden ups and downs. It gives you a kind of gives you a rough idea of kind of trends. And I just noticed we've got a different color scheme here because I changed the I didn't put so many things in, so that's a bit confusing. But anyway, what we got at the top in red this time is Prospectus. So Prospectus launched in mid-December, so we had this big kind of peak when it launched on Wax, I should say. So we had a big peak when it launched on Wax, and that's kind of it's kind of fallen away now in terms of this trend into 2020. Partly because it had this big launch with lots of promotions around it, and then we have EOS Dynasty. So we can see EOS Dynasty has been growing fairly steadily in terms of the trend. It kind of peaked here at the start of February, which we just saw in the previous graph, and now is dropping off a little bit. And My Crypto Heroes has pretty much stayed the same, a bit of undulation in there. But those three games, it's not telling us anything we didn't really know, but those three games are pretty much kind of where they are. Prospectus going down a little bit in terms of this 30-day trailing average because of this big peak here. And then the other games, Blockchain Cutie, Xerox Universe, and Night Story. Again, I mean, they've kind of so Night Story has kind of been growing. Xerox Universe roughly the same, and Blockchain Cuties actually did a update in December, so it kind of grew its audience a little bit. It had put a new feature in, and that's kind of dropping off a little bit. So these three are very much of a muchness. So I didn't put Brave Frontier Heroes in here. It would be about here, but it's only been out for 30 days, so you can't really do a 30-day trailing average if it's not been launched. It's only been launched for 30 days, so that would be somewhere around here. We'll look at that in March. But it's kind of interesting now that we've kind of got this grouping. So we've got kind of 3 games up here, about 3,000, 3,500, and we've got 3 games here at about just I don't know what it is, 700 something like that in terms of long-term average, and then there's one here. So that's where we are. So look to see what's going to happen in March. I guess what's interesting for me in terms of the long term is that I can't see any of these games going from this level to 10,000. So I think kind of these games are where they are. And what we're looking to see, I guess, with the launch of new games, there's quite a lot going on this year in 2020, certainly the second half of 2020 or the summer, is to see some games kind of launching here and going up. So that's, I guess, what we're looking for. At least that's what I would expect. Anyway, thanks for listening, for watching. This is Blockchain Gaming World Daily, where we take some daily news and do a quick video about it. So if you're into that sort of stuff, if you're into blockchain games, please do subscribe to the channel. We do a lot more kind of analysis of what's going on in the world of blockchain games, playing a lot of blockchain games, that sort of thing. Any comments, please put them in the comments box. But otherwise, thanks for watching, and hope to see you again soon.